Hi there Wargamers, Austin here with Brush for Hire, and today we're going to show you in a few easy steps how to paint one of our in-city streets base inserts. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and prime our base. We've got it glued down to the top of the base and lightly sanded the surface so that we get a little bit better paint adhesion. You can always use rattle can primer for this and just about any other product that we make, but I happen to have the Sinal-Res primer from Badger on hand, so I thought I'd use that for this. There we are, we just gotta wait for it to dry. Once it is completely dry, I'm going to use a piece of masking tape to mask off the little lip area that's supposed to be the street surface. We don't want anything else to get onto that surface right now, we just want to leave it black. We'll say nice and crisp. We're going to use some Snow White from Minotaur, and we're going to coat mostly that little curb area, those little pieces that run along the edge of the curb, because we're going to make it a very bright yellow and we want to undercoat with white so that we don't have to fight with the black to make the yellow stand out. Up next we're going to use some irradiated yellow, also from Minotaur. You can see that really stands out. It's just super duper bright. Make sure you get the sides. And there we are. So we're going to let that dry completely, and then we're going to mask that area off as well so that we can start working on those hexes. We're going to be switching over to Ash Gray, which is one of the high density pigments from Reaper. Doesn't take very much at all to get this coated nicely. We're going to turn down our PSI a little bit and switch over to Snow White and Ash Gray. You can probably just add some Snow White into the Ash Gray that's already in your color cup at this point, and we're just going to really lightly hit the middles of each of these hexes. This is going to give us a bright point in the middle and leave the areas right near the cracks looking much darker. It'll give us some subtle contrast, and it doesn't take very long at all to do this effect. Next we're going to switch over to some secret weapon washes, which we'll actually use in the airbrush. We're using Sunshine and Green Black. I find that this is a really great combo for doing concrete. They actually do have a concrete wash, but I like this effect a little bit better. We're going to give it a few minutes and the wash dries quite nicely. Now it's time to unwrap our Christmas presents. We're going to peel that tape off very carefully. If you find that your tape is taking paint away with it, even when you've let it dry completely, you may want to use a little bit of matte sealer in between the painting and the masking. There we are. So up next we're going to use a little bit of Secret Weapon Orange Wash on our yellow. It's going to just bring it down a little bit and give us a little bit of something other than just super bright yellow. We're going to switch on over to Snow White and Irradiated Yellow. We're just going to make a lighter yellow that is going to be the edge highlight color for those yellow curbs. We're picking sort of two directions here, towards the asphalt and towards the top of the base as it sits on screen right now. I am also getting that bottom edge just because the outer edges I tend to do no matter what direction they're in. And we'll switch over to that little line going down the middle. You just want to be careful because when you're working on a flat surface like this, it's easy to misplace the tip of the brush. Also going to get the forward edge there on the corner and in between those bricks. And I'm also going to take some irradiated yellow once that edge highlight dries, and we're just going to do a really thin down glaze over the whole thing. It's going to subdue some of the intense white that we got with our edge highlighting, and we just end up with some really nice subtle highlights. Dark Shadow from Reaper is one of my favorite weathering paints. So I usually take a little bit of it and we can sponge it onto the edges of things and make it look chipped and nasty in just seconds. It's no time at all. Kind of got my head in the way there. But you can see we are laying down some of that dark shadow on the edge to really chip this up. And on the gray areas I'm doing just a tiny touch of it just to add a little something there. Time to switch back over to Ash Gray so that we can do some edge highlighting on the hexes just like we did on the curb. So we've thinned down the Ash Gray and it looks a lot lighter than the rest of it now because we've added so much wash on top of those. And we're trying to keep to our rule where we're painting the top edges of how it sits on camera right now. You may find that you need to spin the base around, or even models if you're working on something other than bases, to get at good angles to put in edge highlights. You'll find that there's one particular direction of pull that's easier for you to control, and it's just better to turn the model instead of learning to move your hands in weird ways. We're going to use some more of the secret weapon green-black, and we're going to subdue those edge highlights a little bit, just like we did with the yellow on the curb. And that's just about it for the top surface of the base. Once we've let it dry, this is what it looks like. We get a lot of really nice contrast from the gray to the black to the yellow, and now all we need to do is tidy up those edges. When we did our masking, we didn't cover up the edges of the base, so we got some yellow and some gray on the edges as we worked on the top surface. So now we're just taking some Abaddon black from Citadel and recoating those edges. You could use pretty much any black color you like at this point. This is just what I had on hand at the time. And there it is, all ready to receive a miniature. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to pick up some In-City Streets bases of your own, go check them out over at brushforhire.com. We have those and lots of other cool products. Also check out our miniature painting service, links in the description. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, share this with your friends, and until next time, happy wargaming.